Have you ever noticed how a simple and powerful design pattern in JavaScript can be related to how a radio works? Come, let me show you. Imagine you're driving and suddenly your favorite song comes on 98.1 FM. At the same time, thousands of other people tuned to 98.1 also hear it. Some people might be tuned to different channels and some might turn their radio off. But the radio keeps broadcasting regardless. This simple system that we use every day is exactly how JavaScript's event emitter works. Here, the radio station would be the event emitter. Channels like 98.1 would refer to the events. Tuning into a particular channel is subscribing to an event. Broadcasting is emitting events. Turning off the radio station is nothing but unsubscribing or removing a listener from the event. So let me show you what the class of event emitter looks like. So we have a constructor with the object called this dot events. So I'll show you first what is the output that we are trying to derive. So this dot events is an object in which it will have event 1 as an array of listener 2, event 2 is listener 1 or listener 3. So this is the output that we are trying to derive. Okay, so let me comment it. So we have three methods. One is the on. We have the event name. So on is basically subscribing to an event, subscribing the listener to an event. So we have the event name and we have the listener. Okay, so this dot events of event name dot push listener. Now if that particular event does not exist, then we assign the event name with an empty array. Now next is the emit method. So what is this emit method? Emit method is nothing but we are broadcasting the event with the data to the listeners. So we have the event name and the data. Okay. Now what happens here is this dot events of event name dot for each. Now this is already an array. Let me remove it. So element I would assign as listener. In case that particular event does not exist, so we just return nothing. Now the next is, so let me talk about the off method. So off method takes two parameters. So what is off? Basically unsubscribing the listener from the event. So off takes two parameters. One is the event name and one is the listener to remove. This dot events of event name this dot event name dot filter is not equal to listener to remove. Okay. Now if in case that particular
event does not exist. This dot events of event name return. So this is all office. Okay. So here is how I'm actually testing the data. So we have listeners, user 1 and user 2. So these listeners are nothing but the callback function. So when I say the listener here, it's a callback function. So what is a callback function? A function which is passed as an argument to another function. So we have the event 1 and event 1. So the listeners for the event 1 are user 1 and user 2. And while emitting, I'm going to emit event 1. uh, I'm going to emit this particular data. That is, name is John, description is hey, it's a beautiful day. And I'm going to turn this particular emitter off. That means I'm going to remove this user 1 from the event 1, and I'm going to again emit. So let's see what happens. So when I say if emitter dot on event 1 user 1 and user 2, both of the listeners get added to event 1. Okay. So when I say emit, both the users, this particular data would be printed. So let's try that and see. So I'm going to actually basically comment this, and let's see what happens here. So as expected in user 1, the data is John. Both the listeners, that is user 1 and the user 2, for the event 1 are getting this particular data. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that particular user 1 from the event 1, the listener from the event 1, and I'm going to emit or broadcast another message saying name of Anna, and description is beach day. So as you can see, in user 2, the description has come, but user 1 has been removed. So this is all event emitter is. I'm going to explain again with an UI of a radio station. That's actually a fun project. So I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to actually tell you what happens if we do not have an event emitter. Like, why do we need to have an event emitter? What uh, other methods and other data structures that could we could have used if not used event emitter. You might be thinking why event emitter is this written this way, right? Let me give you an example. If event emitters was written or were used in a different way, how messier and how difficult it would be for maintaining. So imagine this is a class of a messy radio station where we have a list of all the listeners for music, for news, for sports, for weather, traffic, and we have methods for broadcasting music, broadcasting news, broadcasting sports, and we have separate methods for subscribing music listener, subscribing news listener, and whatnot. It is very difficult for us to maintain this code, and we need to have an array in the constructor for listeners, for a method for broadcasting and subscribing and unsubscribing methods. Hence, event emitter took a very simple approach here, and I will be also showing you the memory complexity of both. So here you can clearly see how one map has replaced many arrays, many methods. So this is how you can write very clean code having really good time and memory efficiency. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.